Welcome to this season's first episode of the Huddle 2014. I'm Demetrius Wright. This year we're going to triple team you with sports information. My co-hosts are very knowledgeable in the sports world. First, we have the sports editor from the Vista, Rick Lemon. How you doing, Rick?
I'm doing good. How are you today, D?
Pretty good, man. Along with Rick, we have former quarterback of UCO, Dylan Schwartz. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, D. Excited to be here.
All right, later on, we'll have a special sports writer from the Vista. All right, we have a lot to talk about today, so let's get right to it. We have some good games from this opening weekend of football. In my opinion, this is the best time of the year. Our UCO Broncos went to Kansas to take on Fort Hays State, and we had our very first Edlum game of the year between Edmond North and Edmond Santa Fe. And of course, my alma mater, Edmond Memorial, took on Southmore. Let's get to the scores of the games. Dylan?
UCO handled Fort Hays State 26-7, recording their 600th win in program history. What a great accomplishment it was for them.
It was. Now, the first Edlum game of the season concluded with a stunning upset with Edmond North beating Santa Fe 27-24 in the final seconds of that game. We have highlights from that game and more coming up later in the show. And Edmond Memorial shut out Southmore on Thursday 20-0. Now, let's kick it over to Dylan for this week's highlights of UCO.
Thank you, D. And what a great season opener it was as our UCO Broncos went up to Kansas to take on the Fort Hays State Tigers. Fort Hays State started off the game deep with the ball in their own territory as Logan Orsa makes a great pass break up in the flats here. Great play by him. He really got the defense in a good rhythm early. I'm excited. The Broncos' first possession on offense got rolling with a couple big runs by sophomore running back Jake Gandra. Jake Gandra got to see plenty of playing time last year for the Broncos, expecting big things out of him this season. Here's another big run by Gander, who finished the game with 24 carries and 136 yards on the game. He really got the offense in a great rhythm early for UCO. Coach Martin opened up the playbook early for the Broncos in this game on a double reverse pass with Chaz Stoller throwing it up to his big 6'3" wide receiver Connor Poley, who brings it down over two defenders. Give UCO an early 7-0 lead. The Tigers had a drive of their own going to have it quickly become stalled deep in the red zone as a forced fumble by Matthew Pruitt, fumble recovered by Cade Sherwood. UCO defense pitched a shutout in the night. Tigers' only points came off a kick return. The Broncos looking to add to their lead now in the red zone when quarterback Chaz Stoller scampers and tiptoes up the sideline into the end zone for his first career rushing touchdown for the Broncos. Seth Kidding added 4 second-half field goals to make the final score 26-7 UCO over Fort Hays State. What a great game that was, guys. Like we said, 600th win in school history. I mean, not very many programs to have that many wins, so that's great. Chaz Stoller in his first start had 204 yards passing, and had 107 yards on the ground. Can't speak enough about that kid. That kid works his butt off, and it's nice to see him come out in the field and really put something together for us.
Yeah, I agree, because I was very excited about this and how well the team played together. They didn't look like last year's team.
Yeah.
They looked like a totally different team.
Absolutely.
And I think this is going to start a winning tradition. I don't want to say nothing, but I think it starts a winning tradition.
And I tell you what, the offense, I think we all knew coming into the season was going to play fantastic. But how is that defense in that game?
Yeah, I mean, coming off last year's performance, being able to pitch a shutout in the first game of the season, I mean, you can't ask for great strides of improvement. Obviously, Logan Orso and a bunch of other guys that are new to the defense this year really stepping in and making plays early on in the season.
And now Fort Hays State is a mid-level team, they're not the top of the bracket, they're not at the bottom, they're mid. So I think it's a good victory for them.
Absolutely, and they're going to be tested early on. Here they got Missouri Western coming up next weekend, followed by Emporia State, followed by Northwest Missouri, who of course is the defending national champions. So they're going to have a lot handled the first couple weeks of the season. So at least they got out of there with that first one. So I feel real proud about that.
All right, let's move on to the Edlum game. Before we do that, let's go to break and have a break, and we'll come back and we'll tell you more about the Edlum game.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Acceptable? Yes, now there are more items you can place in your Edmund recycling bin, like newspapers, magazines, phone books, and junk mail. Edmund recycles. It's what we do. Changing your view is what we want to do.
Plenty of room to swing a rope. Plenty of heart and plenty of hope.
Oklahoma, where the river comes sweeping down the plain,
and the waving wheat
can sure smell sweet.
where the wind comes wrapping on the rain. Oklahoma every night.
My honey lemon eye.
sit alone and talk.
And watch ya hop.
Crazy circles in the sky. We know we belong to the land, and the land we belong to is red.
We're only saying
You're doing fine, Oklahoma. Oklahoma. O-K-L-A-H-O-M-A, Oklahoma. Okay.
Oklahoma, come see for yourself.
Welcome back to the Huddle. I'm Demetrius Wright, here with my co-hosts Rick Lemon and Dylan Schwartz. Let's get back to some football action. Now, Rick, you went to the Edmond game, and it featured Edmond North versus Edmond Santa Fe. Did the outcome surprise you?
No, not really. I mean, I figured it was going to be a tough game, and I was really excited with how it really came out. It was tough. It was a hard-fought game, and I think that the back-and-forth score really entertained everybody.
All right, let's go to the highlights.
We had a good old-fashioned shootout on our hands for the first Edlem game. Santa Fe and North both coming in hungry, trying to get the first win of the year, trying to beat their crosstown rival. Of course, it's going to be strong. Santa Fe came out big in the first quarter, including this camper from 15 yards out by Keaton Torrey, increasing their lead to 14 points. North was able to come back, though, putting together some plays of their own. The third quarter, they used this pass from Stephen McLaren, taking advantage of the broken coverage, scampering forward and delivering a strike to Carson Tabor, who bobs and weaves his way through the defense and ends up in the end zone, led North taking their first lead of the game, 21-17, deep in the third quarter. This is when the game really got interesting. Santa Fe using a strong run from Darren Williams to reclaim the lead and going up 24-21 and making this into the real shootout that we were all hoping for. And seesaw tipped again, though, whenever this pass from McLaren got caught. It was a foul on the play, but it put him up at the 1 yard line, and then big run by the running back all the way into the end zone. Gave him a lead with 40 seconds left. Then Santa Fe, of course, tried to make a comeback. Then it had a couple of plays. Eventually, we end up here with only 5 seconds left. There's nobody passing down the field. Running back comes out in the flat. We keep on running down the field, and eventually they get taken down by North, who wins, and they get to celebrate their first Edlem win of the season. It was a big win, it was a big first leg of the Edlem series, and I mean, they're happy with it. I can tell you that much for sure. What did you guys think about the play?
Now for me, the game was a lot closer than I expected, but it didn't surprise me as much as the score. Memorial versus Sophomore, when we come back, we'll show you the highlights of that game. That was more surprising.
plenty of room to swing a rope. Plenty of heart and plenty of hope.
Oklahoma, where the river comes sweeping down the plain,
and the waving wheat
Can sure smell sweet.
where the wind comes wrapping on the rain. Oklahoma every night.
My honey lemon eye.
sit alone and talk.
And watch ya hop.
Crazy circles in the sky. We know we belong to the land, and the land we belong to is red.
We're only saying
You're doing fine, Oklahoma. Oklahoma. O-K-L-A-H-O-M-A, Oklahoma. Okay.
Oklahoma, Come see for yourself.
All right, Dylan, how did you were at the game. What did you think about it?
I was, on the other hand, was actually really surprised by the outcome. I thought that Santa Fe was much more athletic than what Edmond North showed on film going into the season through the scrimmages and stuff like that. I'll tell you who really impressed me for Edmond North was their quarterback, Stephen McLaren. I thought that guy showed great leadership and really put them in a lot of positive situations, especially late in the game. I really was impressed by him.
I think that really they just seemed to come up with the big plays whenever they needed it. And it was, like you said, Santa Fe did have the athleticism, but they just couldn't seem to make the big plays when it counted, and North did. And that's why they came up with the score that they did.
Absolutely. North did come up with some huge stops at very key moments of that game, which really sealed the win for them. Absolutely.
Okay, now let's go on and talk about my alma mater, the Edmond Memorial Bulldogs. They took on Southmore. So let's see the highlights of that game. Now, in this game, Southmore came out full of pep and prompt, and they were really putting it out, but my Edmond Memorial band was playing their hearts out. First possession, they stopped them. Now, this right here is the best play that Southmore had. It was a miff punt. The guy goes back 20 yards. He breaks a couple of tackles. He's running around side. He's trying to get a block. He makes a move here, there, a dash, a cut, a flippity flop. Next thing you know, he gets tackled and he lost 4 yards. He ran 44 yards to lose 4. But my Memorial Bulldogs take it down and score on a 1-yard run. So then the crowd is cheering, people are dancing. It's a good day in Edmond. Later on in the game, around the third quarter, we do an end around. Memorial does an end around. They're going to score. He could go down. He's at the 5, the 2. He fumbles. Oh, no, that's bad. Southmore gets it. They're going to make a comeback. The cheerleaders don't know it because they're dancing up a storm. Later on in the fourth quarter, my Memorial tries again that end around. This time, it works to perfection. Only person in his way is the lawnmower man because there's nothing but green grass in his way. The band is dancing. Everybody's cheering. Next thing you know, Memorial wins. Now, for that game, I was really surprised because I thought Memorial, this was going to be a down year for him. But turns out this is not a down year for him. And Edmond just happened to pitch a shutout. What do you think, Dylan?
They did. I thought Southmore's offense struggled. They obviously had a very young team, had a lot of new offensive linemen. The quarterback was a true freshman. I thought their defense played great for how much they were on the field, but yeah, Bulldogs were too much for them to handle that night.
Rick, what do you think about it? How was it for you?
I thought it was a great game. Your alma mater's mine too.
Yep.
I love it when the Bulldogs win, but I think they came out with a big win and they showed what they can really do.
Hold that thought real quick. We're going to take a commercial. We'll come back and we'll discuss it some more.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
We're back. As you can see, we added another person as a sports writer, a friend of mine, Austin. How you doing, Austin?
I'm good, D. How are you? How are you guys today?
Wonderful.
All right,
Not
Austin.
too
Great
bad.
to have you on the show.
Glad to be here.
Now, what we need to do is you talk to some people, and as you talk to a couple coaches and a couple players after the games. So tell us about how that went.
Well, I think what we all noticed from this week was how good the defensive performances were. So I just want to get kind of from the coaches what they thought of their defense. like Memorial, their first up's Memorial, they gave up only 150 total yards to the SaberCats. And here's what Justin Meredith had to say about his team's performance.
I think defense was probably, really helped us out. Got a lot of 3 and outs, put our offense in really good position, and just didn't give up the big play really. Caused some turnovers. We got a shutout. I don't know how many yards we allowed. I don't think it was very many against a very explosive offense. So defense, that's what we need. That's kind of what we hang our hat on a lot.
And see, like I said, he was happy with his performance. Their defense is stout, made up for their offense, which, played okay. But next up we had Edmond North, who got 3 crucial turnovers against Santa Fe that really turned the momentum around into their direction. And they also overcame some injuries. Their defensive Dale Brown talked about their performance.
Coach Brown.
We preach takeaways all the time. It's a big part of what we do. We created 3 takeaways. We tell our kids 3 takeaways almost guarantees a win, and tonight it turned out to be that way. Everybody, with the guys coming in for injuries and that just did a great job of responding to adversity. It was a wonderful job.
And then, of course, we had the Broncos, who put on one of their best defensive performances in years. For the first time since 2006, the defense did not give up a touchdown. 8 years.
Wow.
That seems amazing to me. And then,
huge
of course,
step in the right direction, absolutely.
Yeah. Russ Pickett, of course, loved his defensive performance from that game, and he talked about how much depth is going to play a role in this year and how it helped their performance on Thursday night.
We're finally at the point where, we've developed some depth, through recruiting and, just guys coming up through the program now, especially on the defensive line. We feel like we've got, 8 to 10 kids who can go in there and play. And we were able to do that last Thursday night. That was a big reason for our success.
And that's pretty much all I got all for you, D. Back to you.
All right. Now, here are this week's top plays. This is a list of the best plays of the week. The plays, sit down with me, stay with me for a little while. This is the best plays of the week. You ain't got to go nowhere else because we are going to show up the best plays. Right now, here we go. First up, we have this big run by Edmond North's quarterback. He throws it, he gets it down there. Next thing you know, the guy breaks 2 tackles and he scores. That's my number 5. It's a big play, changed the whole momentum of the game. Next big play. Happens to be where the quarterback of UCO, Chaz Stoller, scrambles and tiptoes his way in the end zone. Now, number 3 on my list is this big end-around run from Edmond Memorial. They fooled everyone, including the stadium, to score, to set up the last victory. And then Edmond Santa Fe the quarterback, he jumps over somebody, tears it up. But my favorite is the UCO Bronchos as we scored a touchdown on the end around, opening up the playbook. I loved it. It was great. Now, I'm going to send it over to Dylan, and you tell us about your dimes.
Dylan's Dimes of the Week. What Dylan's Dimes is some of the best throws by some of the quarterbacks in our area over the weekend. So here's the ones of what we got this week for you. First up, we have Edmond North quarterback Stephen McLaren. He avoids the rush, stepping up in the pocket, scampering out to the right, directing receivers downfield, and throws a strike. You can't really tell in this video, but this game was extremely wet, so the fact that he could throw a ball like that across his body is pretty impressive. Here's McLaren again as he turns to the left and fires a rocket, splitting defenders, threading the needle.
I'll be back.
He was throwing, even got a penalty call on that one. And of course, the game-winning drive, throwing up a perfectly thrown ball, getting down to his receiver. Mitchell Perkins down to the 1. And of course, my Dylan Dime of the Week is Chaz Stollard, UCO starting quarterback in his first career start for the Broncos. Gets the double reverse on the end around, on the run, throws it up to Poley in double coverage, and Poley comes down with it, making Chaz look great in his first start And that is your Dylan's Dimes of the week.
Dylan's Dimes, love them. All right, let's move over to Rick. You got the hit sticks. Tell us, what is the hit stick?
That's right, D. We're going to feature the biggest hits, slams, and crashes from all of the games of the last week and show them to you right here in the top 5 countdown. So starting with number 5, we have UCO coming up with the big defensive fumble recovery. Go and hit the running back where it hurts.
Yep.
Second, it's a little bit different. We got Edmond North's running back going and hitting Santa Fe's defense right in the mouth again and again and again, right for the score. All right, number 3 and number 2, we got a little bit of a combo going on. We saw this earlier during the Edmond Memorial highlights. Southmore's runner, after muffing the punt, keeps going.
Boom! Did you see the big hits? I seen them. Boom, boom!
Yeah, big blocks. They might be on Memorial, but they count as big hits too.
Yeah.
And then finally, number 1 of the week, the number 1 hit stick. We got Edmond North going out, throwing a pass out to the flat. Not so fast. Gets knocked out. And there you go. Rick's hit sticks of the week.
All right. No, I still think my favorite is the combo with the 2 guys, the boom, boom, the block. Even though it was on my own Memorial, I'm so sorry. Hey, when you get hit, you get hit. All right, coming up after the break, we take a look at next week's games, and we might even have a few predictions for you after the break.
This is the moment I knew his future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Here's your check.
Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
All right, it's time for our predicts for next week. Dylan, I'm going to let you start it off, and then I'll let Austin come next. Rick, you go third, and I'll finish it off.
For my picks of the week, we have Missouri Western coming down here to Wantland Stadium to take on our UCO Bronchos, and I think it'll be a close one, but I think Missouri Western is going to get out of here. I don't think we're quite ready to hang with them quite yet. Edmond North, I think, is going to beat Edmond Memorial. They have to respond after last week's loss, so I'm expecting some big things. Or, excuse me, their follow-up on their win from last week. Santa Fe, I think, is going to beat Moore, down in Moore, to redeem themselves on that heartbreaking loss to Edmond North this past weekend. So those are my picks for the week.
Austin?
Okay. I was impressed with what I saw with the Bronchos in Thursday night, but I don't think they're ready to compete just yet with Missouri Western, so I got the Griffins winning that one. And then I think Memorial's defense will play well, but I'm not sure about their offense. So I got North winning that one over the Bulldogs. And then I think Santa Fe is going to bounce back over Moore. I think they played well, but turnovers killed them. I think they bounce back.
Absolutely.
Rick, what do you think?
Well, I'm a little bit different than you two. I think UCO's offense steps up to play, and I think that the defense makes the biggest plays of their lives, and they come in and they pull off the upset against Missouri Western. I think that my alma mater, I love them, but I think that North is going to come back and keep rolling. I think it's going to be a close one, but Edmond North's going to roll over Edmond Memorial. And Santa Fe just uses their athleticism. They're going to overpower more, in my opinion.
All right, for me, I'm riding the bandwagon. My hooves are up. UCO wins in an upset, 28-24. That's right, I said it. Memorial beats North in a defensive battle, with my alma mater winning by 1 touchdown. And I agree with my co-hosts, as we've all said. I say Santa Fe beats more. All right, we've covered every aspect of football in the Edmond area. If you need more information, go to ucentralmedia.com and be sure to follow Rick on his editorial page at the Vista paper. Also, check out the writings of Austin Luttrell in his sports pages of the Vista newspaper. And if you're more of a visual person, you can catch the sports crew on the UCO Student Newscast Monday through Thursday, 4:30 p.m. You can follow us all on Twitter at The Huddle. That's our show for this week. We'll see you next week.
I'm Dylan Swartz.
I'm Rick Lemon.
He's Austin Luttrell. Goodbye, America.